obey, repeat, work, obey, repeat.
In a world where freedom costs too much to afford, compliance is survival.
Hey, Congressman, how you doing? I loved that. I love your greatest hits with Hakeem Jeffries. That was fun. I don't know what the status is on the shutdown. Little birdies on the Hill tell me that they're going to try and hold off to the No Kings rally that's going to happen this weekend, and then they're all going to capitulate. Is that what they're saying for the government shutdown?
Well, thanks for having me on, Benny. Appreciate it. Appreciate the work you do. Look, based on everything we've seen, the Democrats are hell-bent on holding out through this weekend for their No Kings rally. It's going to be fascinating to see what the pro-Hamas wing of the Democratic Party has to say at this rally, given that they demanded a ceasefire and President Trump delivered on that. My gut reaction to it is that they'll find new talking points to rage about, because the reality is this was never about a ceasefire, and it was never about freeing Palestine. It was always about eradicating the state of Israel. But they have no interest in opening the government back up. And so I think this is going to drag on for quite a while, frankly, because for their far left base, Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer are trying to appease them. They are petrified of a primary from the left. Hakeem Jeffries is worried about a New York City councilman, Chiose, who's a strong supporter and close friend of Zohran Mamdani. And Chuck Schumer is absolutely horrified at the prospects of losing to AOC. And so, they are doing everything they can to appease this radical base. This is not about healthcare. It's not about spending. It is about politics. It is about trying to show their base that they are fighting back against Donald Trump. That's it. That's all it's about.
So here we have up on screen, Congressman, you approaching Hakeem Jeffries with these exact criticisms. I loved it. And I'd love to have more actual debate in Congress and sharing of ideas. Hakeem Jeffries, man, he just ain't it. Like they keep trying to make fetch happen here. He's just like not charismatic. He's really lame, and he just has no inspirational ideas. He does Facetune and Photoshop his own hips, which is weird. I don't know why he does that, but he does that in tons of photos. It seems a little creepy for like a grown man to do that as well. I'm not sure if that's exactly what you were here to debate him on, the amount of like editing he does to his own photos. But it was very unimpressive, his argument with you, and he didn't really have a great response. What was this like?
Oh, it was quite remarkable. First of all, he described himself later after the interaction, as Brooklyn Hakeem. He accused me of thinking that I was, coming up to Beltway Hakeem, but I got Brooklyn Hakeem. Really, it was more dollar store Obama than anything else. But the fact is that he had no argument. And he knew I was there. I had told his deputy chief of staff that I was going to ask him point blank, will you sign on to this bill? Since you say it's about health care, sign on to this bipartisan bill to extend the ACA subsidy by 1 year. And so he knew, and he came charging out as if somehow he was going to intimidate me or, overpower me in the conversation. He was so arrogant. And what made me laugh about it is it's like, bro, we both represent 780,000 people, and we both have one vote. You're no more important. You're no more special. The fact is that you have failed as a leader. And he couldn't answer a single question. All he could do was stutter, stammer, yell, pound his, poke his finger at me, and, talk about Donald Trump. And my point was, look, if you're saying it's about healthcare, sign on to this bill. We passed a clean CR to keep the government open and funded. You voted to shut it down. It's that simple. You're petrified of AOC. You're petrified of Zohran Mamdani. And by the way, why won't you endorse him? Why haven't you endorsed him yet? What are you afraid of? Go ahead. He's the leader of your party now. And, they have no answer to anything except to yell about Trump. And that's really all this is. It's one big show for them.
It's pretty embarrassing when you're so insecure as an adult man and as someone who is leading one of the major parties in the House of Representatives, when you have to do this in your photos. You know, we talk a lot about the sombreros that were put on Hakeem Jeffries, but we don't talk enough about Photoshop Gate, where he was caught photoshopping. I mean, I don't know if he's trying to be Run DMC here or what, but like you can see that, you see how the bench bends. You know, that means that he's like what do you call a man who's this insecure? Like, dude, you're in your 50s. Like, why are you Kardashian level photoshopping photos of yourself? And there's a lot of these, actually. They were able to go and invest. They found like him doing this to like virtually every photo posted of him online. You should also not be posting photos of yourself as a 50-year-old, like, you know, on Instagram. So what the hell is wrong with you anyway? But whatever. Like, was this something that came up in your conversation, or were you sticking to just healthcare?
No, I was calling them out on the hypocrisy of their position, but it kind of speaks to you look at Schumer. He's updated his glasses. He's trying to appear trendy now. I mean, this is their way to try and appeal to, I guess, the younger generation, and they're just failing miserably at it. And you can see why they have a real challenge. The Democrats are in search of a leader. They're rudderless, and Jeffries and Schumer ain't cutting it. And they're both from Brooklyn. They're supposed to be hip and trendy, and it's embarrassing. It's quite pathetic, frankly.
So we have your Democrat opponent. You have a Democrat running against you, who looks like he's made in a laboratory for soy boys. I've never seen anyone so soft. This guy looks like if the McDonald's soft serve machines like actually worked. Like, this guy is so soft, and he's like exactly who people thought were prosecuting January 6 cases at the FBI. And we've roasted this guy before on the channel, but he's just this like doughy, lispy dude who's like, I'm a federal agent, and I'm here to make sure that Donald Trump's not a Russian agent. Like he puts in his ad like I went after grandmothers on January 6th. He's total cringe, but now it looks like he's been caught saying he wants to defund ICE, which is wildly unpopular, but I guess in line with the modern Democrat Party. Your comments on your Democrat opponent here, who's running against you. A lot of great memes of this guy too. So I guess I'm glad he's running, but the floor is yours.
There's 8 of them right now. I have 8 Democrat opponents announced. It's insane. And my
popular
district,
guy.
yeah, my district's one of the most competitive in the country. I have, Kamala Harris won my district by half a point in 2024. Joe Biden won it by 10 points. It's home to the Clintons and George Soros. So by no means a Republican bastion, but this guy moved up from Virginia. Another candidate, Kate Conley, moved up from Virginia to try and run here. You got a former news anchor running here. He's calling to defund ICE. Kate Conley says that we need to cut ICE's budget. They don't want law enforcement to do their jobs. And it's really remarkable when you think about where the Democratic Party is. You have Zohran Mamdani that wants to defund the police, that wants to shut down prisons, that wants to legalize prostitution. He was asked in the debate last night about legalizing prostitution, and he tried to say, well, we're not going to enforce the law against them. This is the fundamental problem. They don't want to enforce the law against criminals. They want to go after law-abiding citizens. They want to take away constitutional protections for law-abiding gun owners, for instance, but they don't want to prosecute criminals who use guns in the commission of a crime. Zohran Mamdani was asked by Martha McCallum the other day, should Hamas lay down its arms? And he said, I have no opinion about that, but he wants to arrest Bibi Netanyahu if he comes to New York City. I mean, this is the absurdity of today's Democratic Party. It's the absurdity of the policy positions that they are taking on the radical left, and that their leadership, quote unquote, is kowtowing to. They're bending the knee to people like Zoran, to people like AOC and Bernie Sanders, because they are petrified that that's where the energy is on the left. That's where the base of their party is. Yes. And so when you get people like Mike Sachs coming out and saying, you know, they want to defund ICE, or Kate Conley saying she wants to cut ICE's budget, it's just wrong. It's fundamentally wrong. But this is where their party is. This is where the base of their party is. When they say, oh, we're not trying to give illegals health benefits, of course they are. In New York State, Kathy Hochul expanded Medicaid to allow illegal immigrants to get health benefits. And I got her on record before Congress testifying to that point. So when Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer say, no, we're not trying to do that, meanwhile, the governor of their home state is actually doing that, it's all a bunch of nonsense. And so they try to bob and weave. They try to say they're not advocating for these policies. But the fact is, they don't believe in enforcing our immigration laws. They don't believe in supporting ICE agents. They have no problem with citizens or protesters getting in the way of ICE performing their duties. They don't believe those folks should be prosecuted. Hell, we have members of Congress that have assaulted ICE agents. They don't care. And that is a fundamental problem.
The number one viral clip out of the debate last night is not what I wanted it to be, which would be this section of Zoran Mamdani's platform on his website, which says that he wants to tax white people more. It's a fascinating thing to just straight up admit it. On some level, it's like, I'm glad you're just admitting it. Like, okay, you know, some honesty, I suppose. But this didn't get asked, sadly. Hopefully I'll be able to moderate the next debate. But but an attack vector was like, how many mosques have you visited? Which I think it was like was fascinating. So what does that say exactly? You know, Zoran Mamdani, like, he just arrived here a couple of years ago, right? In America. It's a fascinating thing.
He became a citizen in 2018 yes. of the United States and got elected to the New York State Assembly in 2020. I served with him one term in the State Assembly before I came to Congress. And these policy positions that he's espousing, he espoused when he ran. His assembly district underlays AOC's congressional district. He came in on that AOC wave. Once she got elected, she started recruiting and mobilizing these socialist Democrats to run for city council, to run for state assembly, to run for state senate. And they've grown significantly. And so when you hear policy positions like he's espousing, where he talks about wanting to tax white, wealthy neighborhoods at a higher tax rate than other neighborhoods solely based on race, it's outrageous. But he's also advocating for seizing control of private property, for banning private property ownership, for freezing the rent, for free busing. He wants to raise taxes by $9 billion. You know, these are the policies of Marxism. This is what he is advocating for. And I give him credit insofar as, to your point, he's being honest about what his positions are. But it is insane to think that he is on the verge of becoming mayor of New York City. And Andrew Cuomo, you know, I've said this many times, Andrew Cuomo is not a solution here. Andrew Cuomo is the one who signed cashless bail into law. Andrew Cuomo is the one that made New York a sanctuary state. He's the one that banned natural gas and shut down Indian Point and signed the CLCPA, which has skyrocketed energy prices. So he's been a disaster in New York for years. But this is the awful choice New Yorkers are making. And so then Zoran gets into a fight about whether or not somebody visited a mosque. I mean, look, I represent a very diverse district. I go into every community in my district. I've been to mosques. I've been to synagogues. I've been to churches. I'm a practicing Catholic, Irish, Italian descent. But that's not what this election is about. This election is about the policies and the policies that he is advocating that will destroy New York. And what folks across the country have to understand, I get the you know, arguments against New York and the anger that people have towards New York from around the rest of the country. But the fact is, what happens in New York does not stay in New York. And New York is the financial capital of the world. And despite all of these disastrous policies, it is still an economic engine for the country. And if you have an avowed socialist implementing these anti-capitalist policies, going after private property ownership, going after the financial services industry, trying to raise taxes by $9 billion on an annual basis, talking about freezing the rent, legalizing prostitution, defunding the police. It creates a situation that will lead to a mass exodus out of New York. And while that may benefit other states in the immediate, it will create a financial crisis around the country.
Well, I mean, it'd be interesting to develop that. I'm not sure if we have the time, but like financial crisis around the country, I'm not sure about that, Congressman, because I feel like that it'll just move. Like the fluidity of the markets and the liquidity will just simply go to Miami and Boca, as it's already done, right? It's like fake, it's like, my office is in New York, but we're really in the Brickell, obviously. And it's if anybody who has open eyes can see what's happened with Ken Griffin and every other hedge fund in the world, and you just travel the eastern shoreline from Miami to Palm Beach, and you can see where all the hedge funds and all the Wall Street bankers have moved. And now it's affecting the West Coast too, because now this is the number one inflows. JP Morgan tells me this is the number one inflows of accounts from New York are actually here on the western side of Florida where we're broadcasting now. Yep. Like it's already happening. Now, my contention here is not like I hate New York City. I actually believe in my heart that you can't rebuild New York. There's not like another New York. There's not another San Francisco or Chicago. Like these are places that should be preserved actually, because it's neat to go there. It's nice to see there are landmarks and things that are historic. I'm not like burn it all down, right, kind of guy, but I'm failing to see a path forward here. Like with the city, if they're going to elect a guy like this,
Well, to your point, I mean, this has been happening in terms of the out-migration. Bill de Blasio really undid 20 years of strong leadership from Rudy Giuliani and Mike Bloomberg that really built New York into the economic engine that it is. And what you've seen, obviously, is that the hedge funds have gone to Palm Beach. A lot of the financial services industry, especially the banks, have gone to Dallas. The fact that JP Morgan Chase now has more employees in Dallas than it does in New York speaks volumes to that, despite the fact that they're building this huge building in Midtown Manhattan as their headquarters. So it's a challenge. And the point that I make about this being a problem for the country, look, there's a reason that the U.S. has thrived. All right. And this ties to foreign policy. Part of what has made the United States the power that it is our financial markets and our capital markets. Mm-hmm. And the rest of the world relies on the U.S. capital markets. They rely on U.S. investment, not just from government foreign aid, but in terms of U.S. investment on a corporate level. And from our financial institutions, and having that centrally located in New York is vital. It is the financial capital of the world, and yes, it has always been dispersed across the country: Chicago, San Fran, L.A., Dallas. Obviously, it is growing in other parts of the country. But if you have a situation where New York collapses because of its disastrous leadership and because of a socialist engaged in Marxist theory, that does not help our country, because people come to New York for a reason, a lot of it tied to the financial sector. And ultimately, if New York or our major cities start to collapse, that's a problem. And it's part of the reason why the president is taking such an aggressive posture when it comes to crime and tackling crime in these major cities. This is bigger than just those cities. It is bigger than just the people that live there. It has a direct impact on our economy. It has a direct impact on our financial institutions and markets. When you see people leaving Chicago, leaving New York, it's not because they hate New York or Chicago. It is because of the cost of living and the quality of life. Yes. And that is what we're trying to fix.
Well, Congressman, I'm telling you, man, I tell everyone, because we got people that come up to us, whether we're in Portland or Seattle or San Francisco. There's no such thing as a permanent blue state. There's no such thing as a permanent red state. It's constant vigilance. There's no place that is beyond the pale and that can't be won back with the right policies and with the right atmosphere. And I'm just really happy that you've endorsed Donald Trump after he's done with his second term here to run for mayor of New York. I think that'll be great. Like Swan, I think it'd be perfect for him.
It'd be quite the comeback in New York, certainly.
Wouldn't that be the way to end it? Wouldn't that be the final note? Wouldn't
it would be that would be. I think he would enjoy that very much.
Wouldn't he? That'd be vacation, actually, in comparison to what he's doing now.
Trump versus Zoran. That would be quite the debate. Look, and just to your point, Benny, look, as much as people think New York's a blue state, folks have to remember it was New York that delivered the House majority in 2022. We flipped 5 seats, including mine. I defeated the chair of the DCCC. It was vital. My district is a 2-to-1 Democratic district. There's 80,000 more Democrats than Republicans. As I said, it's home to the Clintons and George Soros. We won again last year. I was one of only 3 Republicans to win in a seat Kamala Harris won. That gave us the majority, 220 seats. If we lost those 3 seats, we'd be at 217. So these seats matter, even in states like New York, and folks have to know that. My seat is the difference between us having a majority post 2026 or not, and we need everybody's help. And they can go to lawlerforcongress.com to support us, or text Mike to 85007. My seat is in the crosshairs. Hakeem did not like being challenged last week. They've already spent millions of dollars this year alone trying to defeat me, and it's only going to get worse. It's going to be about a $60 million race. So we need all hands on deck and need everybody's support.
Ladies and gentlemen, Congressman Mike Lawler from New York, a man who's standing strong and strong like iron, man, and Hillary Clinton and George Soros's district. Just amazing, man. Like the iron and the Brooklyn Bridge.
They definitely never thought they'd have a Republican representative.
It's great, man. It's wonderful to see. Come back on the program anytime. Godspeed. God bless you. And man, let's start that Trump for mayor. Campaign. He'll get bored. We'll get bored. We'll get bored. You know him, man. I know he knows you well. He'll get bored. So let's start it now. Why not?
That'll be quite the coda on the career.
Godspeed, Congressman.
All right, thank you. Yep.